the Knicks. New York. We are the New York Knicks. New York. For this new season we're about to enter, the Knicks taking no shorts just like winter.
New York, New York.
New York be about the Knicks, huh?
But the best thing about New York City is K-N-I-C-K-S.
Everybody say go New York, go New York, go!
Go New York, go New York, go!
Hey everybody, it is the New York Knicks Podcast, episode 638. I am Jay. Mark, what do the listeners have in store for them today?
Oh, we got stuff in store for us today. It is All-Star break. So much is going on. So today's topics include, should the Knicks have thrown in an extra second-round pick to get the Pistons to keep Alec Burks? Is Tibbs playing the Squid Game with the Knicks roster? Did Bogey get injured to fit in with the rest of his Knicks teammates? Will the Knicks ever play competent basketball again? Is the league's good-intentioned initiative to give the mentally incapacitated jobs as NBA referees working out poorly? Outlook post All-Star game, and plus, lastly, did it warm your heart to see the Knicks have another top-in who has no idea what to do with the ball when he gets it?
All right, that's a full slate today.
Full slate today, Jay. We got a lot going on and a lot of guys injured. A lot of guys injured.
A lot of guys injured.
Just to start off with the injuries and when guys are going to come back. As we have a lot of injuries. Have you how are you feeling about the team, Jay?
I still feel really good about the team. It's just insane that our 2 through 7 guys were all injured.
Almost the entire starting lineup.
Yeah, you're not going to win a lot of games with that top heavy of an injury. It's not like, it's not like minor injuries to deep bench players. This is literally 80% of the starting lineup, the 6th man and the 7th man.
I saw online someone was a Tommy D, who I just his dumb takes. He said something along the lines of, you have to you can't blame injuries. You need to win these games and just criticize the Knicks. And he said, what are you gonna do come playoff time? I was like, if half the team's injured, you know what we're gonna do come playoff time? We're going to lose.
Yeah.
No one is missing their entire roster and wins in the playoffs.
Right. Most teams don't make the playoffs with their entire roster missing.
Remember the time that Golden State won the title, even though Steph Curry was injured? Oh, that didn't happen. Remember?
Well, I mean, a good example is when Durant and Klay Thompson got injured.
Yeah, they lost the series.
Yeah.
Remember that time that Michael Jordan got injured and the Bulls still won the title? I don't. It didn't happen.
Shimmy said you guys are precious. Thank you.
Thank you. But right now, so just to recap the injuries, Julius Randle, his shoulder, he's supposed to be reevaluated pretty soon. I think realistically, probably looking at maybe a mid-March return if everything goes well.
Mm-hmm.
OG Anunoby, whatever, had surgery pretty recently. Supposed to take 3 weeks, which would take him to the end of February. Probably a mid-March return. DiVincenzo, hamstring, doesn't seem so serious. Probably back after the All-Star game.
I think after the All-Star game, we'll probably have Devo, Boggs, and iHeart back.
iHeart. Yeah, and iHeart, it's one of those things that's going to be bothering him all season because it doesn't just get better, but it gets it could be more inflamed.
Right.
And obviously the biggest fear is that he takes one wrong step and he's done for an entire year. But chances are it's something that you can treat. He should be good the rest of the season, but you probably have to limit his minutes to 25 to 30 minutes, at least until the playoffs.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, he's just so important to the Knicks defense and what they do. The problem is they need another. Unless they want to lean on Sims more, they're going to need to find another big man.
Well, so first of all, for Mitchell Robinson, by the way, just to add him also to the mix, he's supposed to be resuming basketball activities or being able to do some stuff soon. Probably not going to be back until mid to late March at the earliest. But really, if you have Hart playing, I think you could lean on Precious and Sims for the backup. I think that's very realistic.
Yeah, Sims is. Precious is a little undersized for a center, but he can do some minutes there, depending on the matchup. Some teams more so than others.
Precious also is. I mean, you have to find minutes for him because I think the league rules dictate that Tibbs cannot play him under 42 minutes a game going forward.
Precious has been awesome.
He's been awesome. It's amazing. You're like, this guy who was kind of a throw-in the trade has been phenomenal for the Knicks.
Hot take: did the Knicks get the two best guys in the trade?
I don't know. Whatever. Toronto, IQ and RJ are doing great. RJ's shooting percentage is up, and the Raptors, they're building something there. I think the trade works out for both teams. I don't want to bash RJ and IQ.
I'm not bashing them. I'm just saying Precious has been way better than advertised. And
he has been really, really good.
He's been a monster on the boards lately. He's been a very pleasant surprise because while I didn't expect the whole team to get injured, I thought his minutes were going to be like rough. And they've been good. I mean, he's starting. He's going against it's not like he's going against bench scrubs. Like he's starting and he's performing. It's really nice.
When I was watching the Magic game, I was like, is Precious the second best offensive player on the floor right now for the Knicks? And that says a lot for how well Precious has looked and also how bad the Knicks look also.
They've looked rough, but again, what do you expect when the starting lineup is their 8th through 11th guys?
What's more important at this point? Getting a higher seed? Like, should the Knicks be trying to get a higher seed or just trying to get the 6th seed at this point?
At this point, you got to see who's available after the All-Star break. If the three guys we mentioned are available, yeah, go for some wins. If they are still banged up, maybe you just go for a lower seed because you can't afford any more injuries. But
right, you don't have a lot of room between. Like if you lose some more games, you could fall to 7th also. So you're not up by a ton.
That's true. I mean, I'm not saying they should tank games, but I mean, I think if Dante Ihart and Boggs are back, that they have an actual NBA starting lineup and a decent bench. You made the joke about Burks. I think Burks is fine coming off the bench for 15 minutes a game. I think Burks as a starting 2 guard is not a good situation, but I think he will be fine. I have a question for you. So Tibbs is probably going to go with a 9-man rotation.
Maybe 10-man, but yeah. He might go a 10-man just to limit some minutes, but go on, yeah.
Playoffs.
Playoffs, 9-man, maybe 8-man, yeah.
So we know who the starting lineup's going to be.
Yeah.
So the bench, Hart's in.
I don't play Burks in the playoffs.
So you're playing McBride over Burks?
Yes. If that was your question,
yes.
100%. He plays better defense. And they both shot like crap last night against the Magic, but I prefer the defense. I don't know. I mean, it's only been a couple games, so I shouldn't be so hard on Burks. But I'm watching Burks, and I'm like, oh, here's all the things I didn't miss about Burks. Yeah. He tries to force his shot way too much. It just kills me. He'll just take a bad shot. He prefers taking a bad shot as opposed to passing to a teammate, and it drives me fucking insane. There's so many ways that you're like, dude, just pass, but you're covered. Oh, cool. Way to hoist that up. Thanks, Mr. I think I'm Kobe.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if he's trying to make a good impression on the team, and he's like trying too hard. Instead, where it seems like Bogdanovich is being trying to fit in more, and Burks is trying to assert his right to be in the rotation or something. I'm not sure, but I don't think it's going to be as big of a problem when somebody.
Can we pause for a second?
Back. Yeah, sure.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
Hey, what do you need help with? Go.
All right. So I did not hear the Roommates podcast today. I am all for Jalen and Josh tampering with Mikhail. They were talking about the Nova boys being together, and if Bridges has FOMO in being in Brooklyn, and Hart took a hoodie off to reveal a Knicks shirt. Then later in the show, they were asking about the Knicks game in Brooklyn and talking about how so many road games or home games, basically, and how much fun they're having and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm sure Mikhail wants to play with them. They would have to get Ryan back too. Just get the whole Villanova 5. And I don't know, maybe he demands a trade. Will Brooklyn ever trade him to the Knicks? I don't know. I mean, they could offer a lot of draft picks. I wouldn't want to give up too, like, I like this rotation. Who would you even trade? I guess Burks and Bogdanovich. I mean, it would have to be Bogdanovich, I think, for salaries if you want to keep the core intact. Yeah, I don't want to lose Devo either. So it would probably, well, Devo's also, you got to reunite the whole Villanova team. So yeah, I think it would have to be Bogdanovich, Burks. I'm not recording. I'm just talking, Mark.
Oh, sorry.
They were asking about the Roommates podcast, talking to Mikhail, basically colluding to get him to the Knicks. And so I was just off the top of my head what a trade like that would look like, because the whole point would be to reunite the whole Villanova team. So I would think it would have to be like Bogdanovich and Burks. And,
yeah, which is fine. I mean, I think
and a bunch, and as many picks as they want. Not as many picks.
We can put back on the show and we can talk about it. Okay. Sorry, but Zach had a math question. I had it. I could not avoid answering his math question.
Okay. All right. So yeah, we were talking about, Rob was asking about the Nova boys colluding on their podcast to get Mikhail to the Knicks, which I am totally comfortable with.
I think the point, I think you'd have to trade, you just said it before, but you have to trade Burks and Bogues there.
Yeah, and maybe like 3 firsts.
Bogues is here to be traded, like next season. His contract is just meant to be like, if he plays and he plays well, great. But you also, part of the reason he's here is he's filler for a trade next season.
Yes, he's the new Fournier. He's got a $19 million expiring next year. That will be a major part of a trade. If Mikhail wants to demand a trade, then
Mikhail Bridges should do it on the what he was talking about on the. I haven't listened to this week's episode. By the way, Roommates podcast is great. Did they fix the audio issue? I know we always have audio issues, but I don't know.
But if Mikhail wants to come on this podcast and announce, also, we would have no problem with that. We will.
Are players allowed to openly collude?
I think so. I think. Well, yeah, because the whole Miami thing happened. I just think technically the team is not allowed to talk to the players, like the front office. But I think
players can talk amongst each other.
I don't think there's any problem, any rule against that. So I just think you can't do it on like national TV. But I guess if you start your own podcast, that's fine.
How funny would it be if you just like, yeah, you guys didn't hear on the podcast? What on the podcast? I'm demanding to play for the Knicks, and you don't have to pay me. I'm just not going to come to games anymore. Just trade me, or else I'm not playing in the NBA anymore. Oh, you're willing to trade me? Great. Now I'm going to be a Knick. Just really just push the envelope.
Yeah.
Okay. What you looking at, Jay?
The chat wasn't showing up in the live room, so I was trying to do it without it becoming an issue. But
if it seems like we lost our focus in the podcast, my son came down to interrupt the show with a math question. Then Jay was talking to the chat, and so we're back anyway. And the Knicks. So what do you think of Burks so far?
He hasn't looked great, but he's not supposed to be starting and playing heavy minutes either. So
is he supposed to be shooting 34% from the field?
He's not supposed to be doing that either. So it's been a rough start.
So you feel like, and I think like, I mean, obviously, just an example of a rough start. Randall had a rough start to the season and ended up being an all-star. And not that Burks is, but just like that, like you can have a rough few games and then it could work out from there. Do you have high hopes that Burks, when guys come back and his role is diminished to like more like 15 minutes a game, he'll look good and we'll be happy about this?
Yeah, I think it'll look much better. I think he'll be fine in smaller doses, and I feel like he's more of a luxury when the team's fully healthy anyway. They could just play McBride instead of him if he's not working out. So
Yeah, I feel like he might just be here because guys are injured, and like when guys are healthy, like teams probably have no intention of playing him.
yeah. I'm not positive he's even in the playoff rotation, to be honest.
I don't think he. I mean, also depends on how Bogdanovich looks. Bogdanovich, what do you think of how he's looked so far?
He's looked okay. He looked a lot better in his second game than he did his first game.
Yeah,
But I mean, new team jitters, learning the new players, the new system. Like Precious looked really bad his first couple games with the Knicks too. So I'm not going to weigh too much into the first few games. I mean, Burks might look much better after the All Star break too. Like,
right. Having guys back will make a huge difference. Also, I mean, look, we're talking. The team also has looked like trash lately. Lost a bunch of games, but mid March when you have most of the guys back, including OG, who I think was on the team within the like on January and playing games, it just seems like a distant memory.
mhm.
But having OG back will make a huge like the Knicks just don't have their defense right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, their three best defenders are all out, which doesn't
Yeah.
help. And actually, four with when Dante went out.
Right. And also Randall's I mean, like Randall not being the best defender, but like his rebounding really mattered.
Yeah.
Like this team is so much more depth when you get these guys back. And if you get Mitch back, like we're gonna be pretty good in the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, even just making life easier. Brunson's still putting up numbers, but I feel like it's so much more effort to put up those numbers. When you
Oh
have
my God.
when you have Randall out there,
You,
it's a completely different. You're not double teaming Brunson if Randall's out there.
someone pointed out from when before Randall before I guess before Randall went out and post when Randall went out, like Brunson's 3-point shooting percentage is so different because he was like Randall just like draws double teams. He could hit him for an open three. Brunson's getting very few open threes these days.
Yeah, it's everything is a struggle, but they could double team him the entire game, and there's just not. There was a lineup the other day where they had Sims, Taj, and Hart all out at the same time, and I was like, "There's no threat at all. Like you could triple team Brunson. Like it just
By
there's
the way,
not
I
enough
love when
bodies
they
there."
Precious stands in the corner and they pass him the ball and he shoots the three as if like he's a guy that should take any threes a game.
I know. Somebody's got to be out there to spread the floor.
I mean,
So
it's really like, and they had it, and the reason, and you might kill Tibbs for that lineup, but the reason he put Sims and Taj out there is because they were getting crushed on rebounding.
right, and he can't play Precious 45 minutes a game. He tried to, but he has to sit at some point. Taj, I don't know if he
Looks
should be on the
terrible.
team anymore. He is averaging 0.0 points a game.
He might be injured also. He got injured at the end of last night's
He
game.
did get hurt at the end of last night's game, but he is 0 for 8, and yeah, so he just hasn't scored. Like, and he's
He
averaging
hasn't scored at all. Has he not made a single basket?
he's 0 for 8, and I think he's averaging 2 boards and
Hang on one second.
zero point 0.4 rebounds and assists.
What's up?
It's math time again. So this is now I see all these years when I was like, Mark, we need to do the show earlier because I get tired and I don't want to do the show like half asleep. And now I see what goes on when we try to do the show earlier. His math questions. Sounds like his wife is nagging him now.
This makes the R too long. Are I supposed to add these to them?
No, maybe it's a team effort for the math problems.
Yeah.
This is a half circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear something about a half circle. So that's fun.
You sure?
Don't have kids, folks.
What's their logic?
What?
What did they say?
They said it has
Nothing but trouble.
We're having it 188.
They said that they.
So any questions for me in the chat while Mark settles his homework situation?
They added they added these two to it. They added these, not subtracted these. They added these.
But yeah, Taj is
I don't know.
Taj is probably got to get. He's at the end of his second 10-day.
Oh,
I think you can only do 2, which means they would have to sign him for the rest of the season. I don't think they should do that.
oh, I see what this. I'm sorry.
There's got to be. No, there's been no buyouts yet. I think except
What?
they said Lowry was getting bought out, but then
Add what?
there is a deadline for that too. I think it's after the All-Star break, so we'll probably see a few buyouts in the next week or two.
Just the outside.
Rob says, "Are you concerned with getting the team gelling with such little time left?" I'm not really concerned about that because they seem to be gelling really good, and they only added 2 new pieces, and they're not like such a huge like. They didn't change the starting lineup, so I don't think it'll take that long to get Burks has already played on the team and for Tibbs, so Boggs he's a seasoned vet. I think he'll fit in fine. I don't think it'll be a problem.
Okay, I'm fucking up 7th grade math. I'm a fucking moron.
All right. I was just answering questions from the chat. So
Okay, sorry, I can't do 7th grade math. It was no one even wants to know what the 7th grade math is, but I was giving my son the wrong information. He's talking to his friends, and his friends were like, "No, it's this," and he's like, and and Zach goes to his friends. My dad's wicked smart. He knows this stuff, and he came back down and he's like, "My friends say it's this way." I'm like, fuck, your friends are right.
All right, let's try this again.
Sorry.
Mark, are you concerned about the team gelling with such little time left in the season before the playoffs? That's from Rob.
Okay. Yeah, but what are you gonna do? That's a little bit of a concern. You'd like them to have you want the team to have a 20-game stretch where everyone's healthy.
I'm not concerned. I think the team is gelling.
You don't think it's a concern?
No, I think the team is gelling before the injuries. They only added Burks, who's already played for Tibbs and knows the system, and Boggs, who's been around forever. So they really have to incorporate like one new guy.
Right, and Burks will gel by just sitting on the bench.
Yeah.
I legitimately don't think Burks is going to play in the playoffs. unless
Probably
guys are
not.
injured.
It's either that or McBride will get the shaft, but I really don't think he should based on his defense. I know somebody in the chat said Cole was kind of
Cooking him?
killing him. Shimmy said that, but it's one game. I still think I would trust McBride's defense over Burks. What are we talking about? 12 minutes or less backing up Brunson anyway?
This is also for the playoffs, which is a while from now. You'll see how both guys are looking. Maybe Burks will look better. Who the hell knows? But you're also going to push everyone else's minutes in the playoffs.
Do you think, Anthony says, do you think Bridges will end up on the Knicks?
Probably not, because if Bridges was on any other team besides the Nets, then I would think it's a strong possibility of happening.
Yeah.
But I just don't see the Nets. The Nets will do anything not to trade him to the Knicks.
Does he have enough power to demand a trade and have his list only say Knicks?
I don't know. Dame said he wanted to go to Miami, and you see him playing on Miami?
That is true, but that's the first time I've ever seen them. And it's not like he still ended up on this second place team in the conference. So, I mean,
he ended up on a good team, and he ended up getting traded. But, guys...
But Miami really had garbage to offer. Miami was really,
Yeah, it was a really bad... And the Knicks could offer something. Anthony Davis forced himself to the Lakers. I guess that was... But I don't know if that was his only team. Guys can force themselves... KD didn't exactly force himself to Phoenix. It wasn't like Phoenix was the only team, the team who was his number one choice.
We'll see. I don't think so, just because I don't think they would want to do that. But if the Knicks offer enough draft picks, everyone has a price.
Right. I mean, if the Nets are like, we're not going anywhere, the Knicks made a pretty solid offer.
Where
they
would
could go for it?
Let's see. We were talking about, while you were off, the buyout market. Lowry went to Philly. I don't think there's been any other buyouts. Their deadline is coming up, though, so we should be seeing a few. Teams dropping out of the playoffs want to shed some salary. So,
I think PJ Tucker is looking for a buyout.
So Tucker and Bones both got sent home on this last Clippers road trip.
I don't want Tucker. I don't think we're going to play him enough minutes to want him. I think he wants a real role, and I don't know if we can give him a real role.
No, he'd only have a role until everybody came back healthy, and then he'd never play.
And Bones Highland is a terrible, terrible defender.
Mm-hmm.
He's been on 2 teams, and he's a pretty good offensive player, and both teams have hey, we don't really want you here anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to add him to the mix.
I'm not saying we should. I'm just thinking who might be bought out.
If there's a big man, we could probably use a big man
Yeah. Yeah.
just to take Taj's spot. There's got to be someone in the G League that makes sense to give a 10-day contract to that's not named Taj.
Yeah. Yeah, I would
So
think
you
so.
do you blame Tibbs at all for all the injuries and guys being run down?
No. I know this is a big thing right now with Knicks fans saying Tibbs runs his players into the ground. Here's my rationale for saying no. Before all the injuries, the most minutes per game on the team was Brunson, and he was 13th in the league. That's an average amount for a number one player on the team.
Yeah.
And Randall was 16th. That's normal for two All-Stars, 13th and 16th, right in the middle of the league. So the minutes, they weren't being overplayed when everybody was healthy. The people point to like the 40-plus minute games. Those are only when the Knicks were decimated. Like the injuries, you can argue that Randall got injured too late in the game. Usually the losing team throws in the towel first. Butler and Bam were still playing with 1 minute left in that game. Randall got hurt with like 5 minutes left in the game.
Yeah, I think like the game was still there was especially the way with teams hitting threes and coming back pretty fast. The game was not over. It wasn't crazy to have Randall out there. It was a freak injury. Stuff happens.
Yeah, it was a freak injury. In today's NBA, with all the three-point shooting, teams can go on a 9-0 run in like 30 seconds. And so to say it was a 15-point game, things can turn around really quick. That very same game, they went on a 12-0 run with Brunson on the bench for like 30 seconds. Like,
Yeah.
as soon as Tibbs benched anybody, like Miami was making a comeback. It just, I don't
Guys'
blame him for
minutes-
keeping players in.
So guys' minutes have been a little higher, and clearly some guys have been playing. Like if Precious gets injured, you'd be like, okay, I get it. Precious has been playing a lot of minutes. But if you look at what's actually happened, Mitch, freak injury. Randall, freak injury. Reasonable to be in the game at that point. Other guys, Ihart, yes, he has a wear or use, like his Achilles basically is bothered from use. But he also was, because Mitch went down, the amount of minutes he was playing was going to be increased greatly no matter what. Like, I mean, what was he playing? I guess there's some games where he's playing 35 plus minutes, but no matter what, his minutes were going to go up by about 10 minutes a game. Because he was playing, before he was the backup playing 20, 25 minutes, he was clearly going to play more than like 30 plus minutes after the injury.
Right. And for the season, he's averaging 25.6 minutes per game.
Yeah, but since Mitch has been gone, his minutes have gone over 30. But I think it's pretty reasonable when you think about the fact that he moved from the backup to the starter.
Yeah.
And also, if you look at DiVincenzo, his minutes have been high, a little too high, but at the same time, like he went from 20-minute guy to guy that's going to start and play major minutes with guys out. Like the minutes are slightly high, but I think blaming Tibbs is just like a stupid reflex, basically. Let's just blame Tibbs. Whereas like a lot of other coaches would have played similar minutes to these guys.
Yeah. I don't think so. There was 23 games between, I guess, I don't remember the exact date when Mitch got injured. I'm just looking at when his minutes spiked.
Yeah.
He was playing like 15 to 17 minutes a game, and then all of a sudden he's playing around 30. He played over 35 minutes 9 times in 20.
It's a lot of times.
24 games, but he didn't play over 40 more than once. So
It's the jump up in it's just the overall jump up in minutes.
I'm just
basically.
saying he's not playing like crazy minutes for an NBA player. He was still averaging about 34 minutes a game. Like that's not
The
insane.
one guy who's playing a crazy amount of minutes, who like is an injury also issue is Brunson. Brunson has missed a game recently or 2 games recently, and his minutes have been kind of high. And there's where maybe you want to pull back on his minutes a little bit, but he's going to play 35 minutes. It's just a matter of like try to avoid getting into 40 minutes.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And
with
maybe if some of these bad games, throw in the towel a little early with Brunson.
that. The problem is the Knicks are so short-handed in the minutes Brunson sits, the other team immediately goes on a huge run. It's really bad when he sits.
Well, it's not even they go on a huge run that no one can freaking score
Yeah.
on the Knicks. Like it's just like with everyone injured, I mean, part of the problem is that if you don't, I mean, like the guys on the bench, like Jacob Toppin, I'm glad he's doing well in the G League. He looks scared when he gets the ball. And maybe like if you gave him a bunch more minutes, he'd look better. And Charlie Brown hasn't looked very good either. Maybe if he got more minutes, he'd look better. But these guys are really far from being useful bench
I felt like
players.
it was 2019 again. There was one game where it was like Charlie Brown, Jacob Toppin. Like I was like, what is going on right now?
Yeah, like if you have to use Jacob Toppin, you're probably going to lose the game. No offense, and he could end up being a very good player. He's just far away from being a useful player. And part of this comes down to if the Knicks had draft picks the last 2 years, they might have some young players on the bench who could step in. They don't have that, and this is one of the reasons that like you have 2 draft picks this summer. Use both of them. Keep those guys on the roster. You need some young players for depth that the Knicks don't have right now.
Yeah, this is where punting on the draft every year really hurts.
Yeah, and there's a mix, whatever. The Knicks have two first round picks. They have a second round. Just use the picks, get some other guys on the roster who might develop, who just in these situations could step up, which the Knicks really need that.
Our email is nyknickspodcast@gmail.com. Phil writes, hey, Jay and Mark, just finished the gutsy win over the Pacers. Loved it. My question, do you think these awesome player moves, acquiring Brunson and Devo, trading for OG, are good common coordination between Tibbs and Leo, or is Leo and the front office staff? Don't hear much read on this angle in the team's development and would like to hear your thoughts. So he's saying, do you think this is all Leon Rhodes, or do you think he's talking with Tibbs as well?
I imagine it's a group decision. I imagine Leon Rose and the front office makes the decision, but they probably get input from Tibbs on what he likes.
I agree. I don't think. I'm sure it seems like Phil would just make moves without telling the coach, but I feel like this seems coordinated. They're getting Tibbs type players. It seems like they're on the same page.
Yeah, even if it's not coordinated, they're like Tibbs is their coach. What does he like? He likes guys that play defense, the guys that hustle. They're getting, whether they have Tibbs input or not, they're getting guys they feel like fit his system.
Right. Yeah, maybe they weren't before. Maybe that's why the Cam trade happened. And now they're like, yeah, let's actually get players that Tibbs is going to like and play.
I feel like best if you get a coach, you got to get players that like fit that. It's well, I guess if you get a rookie coach, maybe like the coach can like fit the players.
Mm-hmm.
But if you get a veteran coach, it does your team a disservice not to get players to match that coach, or else why is that coach here?
Yeah, I think some people complain about that. I'm pretty sure San Antonio was getting players that would fit into his system.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, every team tries to get guys that can fit and help out, and also like, oh, woe is me. We have to get guys that fit Tibbs' system. You know, guys that play both ends of the floor and hustle.
Right.
Damn, we have to get those guys. I hate having to get those guys. God.
Dave writes, do you think we would have been better off keeping Grimes, who's a great defender, rather than Burks and Bogdanovich, who are clearly lower tier defenders?
So I wonder if the Boggs and Burks thing was kind of like, because Boggs is clearly not a Tibbs guy, and Burks is, I guess, an okay. Like Tibbs is probably not thrilled with him, but he's probably like, I know his game. I like him enough.
I don't know if they would be better off. You're definitely losing something on defense, but it's not like Grimes played that many minutes anyway. And I think you did need more scoring off the bench.
Does that trade happen without the injuries? Like if everyone's healthy, do they make that trade?
I think so.
Really?
Yeah. I think Grimes was disgruntled. I think they just didn't want any disgruntled players on the team. They also did not make that big trade, and they needed an extra year of salary. So I think Boggs worked out perfectly salary wise, and now you also have a 20-point per game scorer coming off the bench, which is, as much as we like Grimes, he was basically a spot up shooter. This is a guy who can create his own shot, and he shoots over 40% from three.
Yeah.
Not
I mean,
a
are
bad
we calling
thing now.
are we calling him Wade Boggs now, or Bogues, or what are we calling him?
I've been calling him Boggs. Just
No, I mean, fine. I don't know what the correct like. Is it Bogey, Boggs, Bogdan,
I don't know. BB.
BB, Bojan. I think you are. I don't know. It is nice to have guys that can do I don't know. Bogdanovich is an interesting guy to add to the roster. He's a big dude. He can score. He doesn't play the defense that Grimes plays, but I guess you also have Hart. You have Dante. You have a bunch of guys that can play defense that just getting a guy who can score off the bench is pretty
Yeah,
helpful.
I think there's enough defenders on this team that you could absorb losing a little on defense and getting a lot more on offense.
My assumption also is they probably explored the market for like a guy like Malcolm Brogdon, and whatever reason Portland was like he's not available, or the price was too high, and they're like, well, this is a reasonable price. We got to like be smart about this.
Yeah, absolutely. But I do
Um,
think that extra year at 19 is a big part of it.
Yeah, I think your point is basically they needed to get a guy who had a salary for next year to preserve the cap space. And
But I
that
think it
makes
was a
sense.
win-win because I think overall it is an upgrade over Grimes, and you have the salary flexibility
Yeah.
to make a trade. So I think it worked on both ends.
Nick writes on would you rather watch Alec Burks play basketball or only be able to wear wet socks for a month straight? Base Nick fan writes, was the trade a mistake? Tibbs Burks point guard combo is terrible like it was last time.
Burks should just be playing shooting guard, not point guard, ever.
I think we talked about this before. I think the second unit really will be point guard by committee,
Yeah,
which when everyone's healthy. Because Burks clearly is not a creator as a point guard,
right.
but neither is Deuce. I don't know.
I still think
They
Burks
got-
looks a lot better when he's on the bench and not in the starting lineup.
What did you think about Mekhi Flynn putting up like 40 points last night?
What?
You didn't see they put up 40 points last night?
No.
Oh, yeah. I thought you'd be kind of pissed about that.
No. I'm happy for him. I mean, he didn't look.
You know
too
I made
bad.
that up, Jeff.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it's Detroit. Like, who else is scoring on that team?
I forgot to even check. I've been checking the Detroit box score to see. I like Grimes. I want to see what he's doing in Detroit. I completely forgot Flynn was not even on the team. I haven't even been checking for him.
Pies Josh says, where would Phoenix have to finish for Booker to be disgruntled?
Not in the finals. I think if they lose I think they lose in the first two rounds. Booker could be disgruntled.
Yeah.
Definitely the first round.
Or if KD gets injured before the playoffs or in the first round, that might do it for him too.
Though maybe like KD's injured and they lose. He's like, well, KD will be back next season. But if they lose with KD, Daniel writes, how do we become the Grizzlies of the East? For real. Who do we anticipate to be back immediately after the All-Star break? Devo, Ihart, timetable for Randall, OG. I find Ihart and OG to be the most important pieces defensively.
Apparently, Randall is progressing. He's hit every benchmark on the road to his recovery. So a week after All-Star break, we might see Randall. 2 weeks after, we might see Randall and OG. I mean,
I don't think Randall's gonna be back a week after the All-Star break. I
No?
think no. I mean they're. I feel like it's gonna take a couple weeks. Like once he's like fully ready to do basketball activities, it'll probably take another 2 weeks to ramp up. I don't think he's gonna be right back in the games,
well,
and they'll probably take it kind of slowly with him.
at least
Right.
Tim and OG are hitting all their recovery benchmarks. So there's no setbacks so far. Maybe early March we'll see both of them. We'll be almost
Yeah.
to full strength.
And I agree. Ihart and OG are two most important defensive, but Devo also. I mean, DiVincenzo, like he's been great defensively also.
Yeah, I think his injury is very minor though. I think he's going to be back right after All-Star break.
Yeah, I mean, I assume I assume Tibbs was just like, let's just like even he was like, yeah, we could lose this game. Fine, we'll try hard, but we don't have to play everyone.
Yeah.
Team looks it's been brutal game. So refereeing the last shot against Houston, I've never seen Holiday shoots the ball from 40 feet from the 35 feet from the basket, runs and jumps up. I've never seen a foul called on that play.
No
You
contact.
ever seen that before?
No, it was, and that's the same ref that screwed the Knicks with the Brunson call against the Celtics.
Or
early
the
in-
flop call in the
Yep.
game one of the season.
Yep. And the very next game after he screwed the Knicks against Miami, he screwed Chicago against Cleveland. Donovan Mitchell pushed Caruso, and they called a foul on Caruso. 2 free throws. Bulls lose the game.
Oh my God. There's some terrible refereeing going on. The league really needs to figure out how to make the refereeing this not terrible.
They really do. I mean, this is obscene. You can't have the same ref make 2 incorrect calls in back-to-back games that altered the ending of the game.
I mean, also like the Houston game, Brunson was getting his ass kicked like the whole game, just getting beat up, and they weren't calling jack.
Didn't
The free throw disparity was absurd.
wasn't it like a 20 free throw disparity?
Yeah, it was something like that. It was also like it's like there was so much contact they were allowing from Houston, and then this last play, there's one play, the Orlando game also. Just speaking of bad referee, where you pointed out this to me, but you told me about it 5 seconds before I saw it happen on DVR. But Taj got thrown to the ground. They don't call a foul. The next play they call a touch foul against the Knicks.
So I know this sounds a little homerish, but I can't remember a game where the calls were lopsided in the Knicks' favor.
Right.
Like, did the Knicks do something to piss off every ref in the league? Like, why is this happening over and over, seemingly on a everyday basis? Like, am I crazy, or is this happening to the Knicks like a lot?
There's a lot of like we've been complaining about the refereeing for years, but there's some times where it just seems atrocious.
And some people, when I post about it, say it's just referee incompetence. But I think it's almost statistically impossible to be bad, but have the mistakes only towards one team.
It is also, I hate they're like, well, you should have just won the game anyway. And you're like, yeah, so the winning team gets to use the refs also in their favor, and no one cares, but the losing team has to overcome the refs.
Right. The Knicks shouldn't have to beat the other team and the refs.
I mean, like, kind of sometimes they're crucial plays, like the last shot of the game where you give them free throws to win the game. Those are crucial plays.
Yeah, you can't say, well, the Knicks should have just been up by more. Like, it's not how it works.
I mean, Houston should have been up by more, so they didn't need the refs to fix the game for them.
Right.
So anyway, All-Star game coming up. Brunson. I am hoping during the All-Star game, he's the one guy that doesn't play any defense or try at all. Or maybe they bench him for the All-Star game. I want him to barely play. I just rest. Like,
I hope he plays 5 minutes.
Brunson, can you just not go to the All-Star? I know you want to, but just like take the All-Star game off. Just rest, please.
I want him to just go in and just start hacking the opponent. Get 6
Foul
fouls
out right away.
Foul out and go home.
Jacob Toppin. What do you like? Do you like his chances in the dunk contest?
Well, the last 2 times there was a Nick in the dunk contest, it went really well.
A nickname Toppin?
Yeah.
Um,
I don't care. The dunk contest hasn't been good in like a decade.
Okay. Name the other participants in the dunk contest.
Couldn't tell you.
It's not a trivia question. I just don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been so bad for so long. Even when it was good, they always gave the winner to like the 3rd best dunker of the night. So,
But it's gotten really lame when they're like, "Hey, Jacob Toppin, you've played 8 minutes this year. Do you want to be in the dunk contest?" I'm like, even if he's a good dunker, I feel like you should have to average 20 minutes a game to be in a dunk contest.
one of the dunkers is that guy in the G League who was in the dunk contest last year, who was also in the G League.
It's just stupid. I want to see, like, if I'm going to watch, like, at least when you had like Blake Griffin win it, you were like, oh, Blake Griffin's the star in this league. That's cool that he's in the dunk contest.
Yeah.
When it's players that no one really knows, it's so goddamn lame.
Yeah. I mean, most Knicks fans probably don't even know Jacob Toppin.
You know what they should do? You want to make the dunk contest better? I have an idea. I think there should be 2 dunk contests. One for players under 30 and one for players over 30.
So a layup contest and a dunk contest?
They should. I'm going to break this up. We're going to have under 30, over 30. A white man. I'm sorry. I'm going to do this. White man only dunk contest because it's just be funny.
So, oh yeah, Matt McClung. Thank you, Josh.
Okay. How about under 6 foot dunk contest?
I mean,
Just have all these subgenres.
I'm probably going to turn it off after the 3-point contest.
The three-point contest is really, it's funny because the three-point contest has the star players, some of the best players in the league, and the dunk contest has guys who can't get minutes in the league.
I mean, you could argue that they went more for star power than actual 3-point expertise because having what's his name in from Milwaukee,
Dame.
instead of like Dante seems like.
I
Dante
like
should
them
be
having
in
the star, whatever. Like that, it's fine. I'm fine to pick the star players for that. But even for that, I think that they should have like three. They should have a center 3-point shooting contest also. Just make it more fun. Wouldn't it be great to see like the Taj representing the Knicks in 3-point contest?
That would be pretty funny. The finals is like 7-5.
Okay. Post All-Star break will be in a week. The Knicks have a bunch of games, obviously. We open up against Philly, then Boston, Detroit, New Orleans, and Golden State. How do you like our second half chances, Jay?
I love it.
Love it?
I love it.
We're going to dominate.
Yeah, absolutely. Wait,
Okay,
what are
cool.
the teams again?
We open up against Philly and then Boston, which is really like, God, the people who made this schedule just freaking hate the Knicks.
I mean,
between the
Embiid's still-
back-to-back games,
Embiid's
opening
still
up after
out.
the All-Star break against Philly, and then Philly's missing Embiid, so it's not so bad.
Another back-to-back, though. That's the other thing. The Knicks pissed off the refs and the schedule makers at the same time.
Well, no, that game's not a back-to-back, but then the following two games are. The Detroit versus New Orleans are back-to-back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that is all. I'm sure my son will interrupt the show now with another math question soon, so we should probably wrap up.
All right, real quick. Andrew said they should have a podcast host dunk contest, and Jacob blew out his ankle again.
Jay, if they had an 8-foot rim dunk contest, do you think we could do it?
Probably, yeah. I mean, in my like basketball playing prime, I was able to hit the ball into the rim. So I guess I was what?
You were
6?
able to get to the ball on a 10-foot basket. You were able to get it like you could.
I was able to grab the ball and smash it into the rim.
Oh, into the rim, not over the rim.
No, not over the rim. So I don't know what that is, like 6 or 8 inches off.
Well, I mean, I was in my best days, I could smash the ball into the bottom of the net. So
Okay, so I guess I had an inch or two on you there.
you had I've never had ups. No.
And Shimmy said he wants to hear Mark's ideas for the All-Star game.
Oh,
Because the All-Star game
my-
generally stinks.
general game stick. I do like the fact that they play to a point total. But my ideas for the All-Star game, I would allow fouling. Just don't call anything. Whatever you guys want. But not that anyone wants to really injure themselves. You know what would be good?
Mm.
You know what would be kind of fun? If you foul, you have to leave the court for a minute, and it's like a
Power play
like-
in hockey.
yeah, exactly. Like it's 5-on-4 for for the like injured for 30 seconds. He's got to leave the court basically.
Since the game doesn't really mean anything and nobody cares, why not do it the old MTV Rock and Jock did and have 4-point shots and 10-point shots? And remember they had
that would be fun.
they had the smaller basket like 5 feet above the real basket and it was like 10 points.
How about you allow goaltending?
Bring back the old Wilt rules.
Yeah, allow goaltending. Why not? Yeah, 4-point baskets, allow goaltending.
If you allow goaltending, nobody would get a shot off. You just stand under the rim and grab every shot.
You know when they put a guy like you put like two guys who like need the ball on the team, and everyone the first thing people say like when you had Harden going to the Nets, they're like they're gonna need 2 basketballs, they're gonna need 3 basketballs. Do that for the All-Star game.
2 or 3 basketballs.
Yeah, there's 3 basketballs on the court at all times.
Just
Make it complete
absolute
chaos.
Yeah,
That would be kind of fun.
that would be fun.
It's just a second ball, not even make it 3. It's 2 balls on the court at all times. See how that goes.
I like the 2 balls on the court with all the extra nets for extra points. Just make it completely insane.
Or what if you take the well, the WNBA season's not now, right? It's after, but like
Who knows?
why don't we mix up the WNBA and the NBA All-Star team?
Pepper in some WNBA players?
Yeah, on the court at all times you have to have 2 WNBA players. And before you shoot, a WNBA player has to touch the ball.
I don't know. What are you like? How are you even doing that? Like,
Okay. Oh, how about just have two WNBA players? Have it three men and two women on the court at all times.
So it's like when you join like a Zog Sports League.
Yes, exactly. I don't know. To make it more fun, I don't know. Maybe you know, it'd be cool to make it different than an NBA game. Don't allow guys to travel.
Mm-hmm.
And no more palming the ball. You have to actually dribble, and you can't take 8 steps before you while holding the ball.
Well, they did call a palming on Brunson because
Yeah,
every call that never gets called on the Knicks.
every goddamn call.
Even the announcers were like, I haven't seen that called in like 5 years.
Or how about a 12-foot basket? Just play on a higher basket the whole game.
Yeah.
Though they can't have I guess the dunking wouldn't go too well though.
Yeah. No, I like having the smaller basket 5 feet above the regular basket for more points.
Okay. Or how about this? Each team gets a kid with leukemia, and they're only going to give the cure to the team for the kid who the team wins. We're really like I'm not. I know the winning the title is important, but this is more important. Come on, you guys gotta go for this.
On that note,
Goodbye, everybody. It's all over. Goodbye. It's time to go. This is the end. Say goodbye. You better go away. I'm gonna leave you. It's the end. Goodbye. Goodbye. Just leave me alone. Feels so good to say goodbye. I'm sick and tired and I'm saying goodbye. Goodbye, girl. Goodbye, 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 everybody.
all right.
I just saw so PJ Tucker was fined $75,000 by the NBA for expressing that he wants to be traded. Does Brunson and Mikal Bridges get fined for doing it on his podcast?
But Anthony Davis could demand a trade.
I don't know. It's weird, but I'm just wondering if are they going to get trouble? I haven't listened to the podcast yet. I listened to the first episode, which is good, but the volume was kind of low. But
Rob sent the clip of them colluding, so I'll play that real quick.
I'm sure they were kind of joking around.
Thank you, Rob. I'm sure they're not.
Do you ever get FOMO seeing all the Nova guys back together?
Not really, because I still talk to these dudes.
Right.
You know what helped? It helped that I went to USA with y'all.
Yeah,
That was kind of good. That was nice.
That's so they have
USA.
Mikal on the podcast.
That was fun. Yeah.
nice shirt.
Yeah, I knew they had Mikal on there. Yeah.
What were you saying?
Jess Hart just took off his hoodie.
Just
and
magically
said,
get hot in here or something?
Yeah, a little toasty. I'm just wearing a New York Knicks shirt. Obviously, I play for them, so
Makes sense why you wear it. 'Cause your team.
yeah, that's my team.
Do you ever get FOMO seeing all the
that was
the
it.
Nova guys back together?
Okay. They didn't really plot the trade.
No, they're just, planting the seed. I don't think they did anything finable.
I was gonna say I don't think they can openly talk about colluding on the.
Oh, he said there's more in the actual episode. I mean, you're allowed to just talk about how great your team is. There's nothing wrong with that.
I gotta run.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. I'm going to close down